Hey guys, welcome back to AITA Reddit Stories channel. Today I have 6 stories to share with you.
Story 1, let's go.
Would I be that a-hole if I go on vacation? Instead of my brother's wedding, my brother Tom and I have never had a really solid relationship. Due to our age gap, we didn't spend much time. And by the time I was old enough to develop a personality, he was moved out of the house. For the last 2 years, my brother and his fiancée Sarah have been planning their wedding, and it's coming up in September. I was asked to be a bridesmaid. I figured I was only asked as a courtesy, since I'm her soon-to-be sister-in-law, but I still took it seriously. I have been a bridesmaid for the last 2 years. Just a few weeks ago I managed to save up to buy the $800 bridesmaid dress. Overall, in the last 2 years, between group outings to parties, dinners, lunches, clothes, etc., I spent thousands of dollars. Eventually all the girls in the wedding and I became extremely close, and I started to get hyped for the wedding. Sarah recently got close with her brother's wife Becky 30th. Last week she dropped the ball on me that she no longer wants me to be a bridesmaid and she would prefer if Becky would take my place. It broke my heart a little, but it's her wedding, and it's not my place to tell her how to run it, so I said it was fine. Yesterday I went to my brother's house to pick up the bridesmaid's dress and was going to see if I could return it, since it was within the time frame. Sarah was completely appalled and said that Becky was going to wear it since she and I are the same size. I said that would be fine, but they would have to pay me that $800 for it. Sarah said that Becky couldn't afford, and I should just be nice and let her use it, and said that I could keep it after the wedding. I explained that I'm not just giving away the dress, and I'm not ever going to use it after the wedding. After some bickering back and forth, I just ended up taking it and leaving. My brother and Sarah tried to compromise with me and say I could be the assistant flower girl, and I felt offended at the offer. After I said no, they then said that Becky could give me $250 for it. Again no, and I returned the dress and got a full refund. I told them I understand that it's their wedding, but they are being extremely disrespectful to me and I don't need to deal with it. And I'm not going to the wedding. Today my co-worker says she has an extra round-trip plane ticket to go to Miami that she'll sell to me for half price, plus I would have to pay for half the hotel, and I can go hang out with her in Florida. The only downside is that I'll be in Florida for the week of my brother's wedding. So will I be the asshole if I just go party in Miami instead of going to my brother's wedding? Story 2, let's go. Am I the jerk for fleecing my mom's boyfriend at poker? My mom has a new boyfriend that she's been dating for a little under a year. He's made overtures to build a relationship with me, but I've been away at school at a different state and hence haven't been able to. Plus, I'm not especially interested, since I am not close with my mom. I was in Korea during summer break, and he invited me to a poker night with his friends. I didn't want to go, but my mom urged me to, and I didn't have an excuse because I didn't have plans, so I reluctantly agreed. What my mom's boyfriend and his friends don't know is that I'm actually pretty good at poker, or at the very least better than them. I sat in on a round before playing, and I realized these guys weren't good at all. So, I came up with a plan. I pretend to never have played poker before, bait them, and make money. That way, I make sure he never invites me ever again, and I make some extra cash. I did just that, and ended up making about $150 in cash, which is decent, but far from a huge amount when poker is concerned. My mom's boyfriend demanded I give the money back to his friends, and my mom sided with him, but I think I earned the money fair and square, and don't need to return it. I told him this, and he called me a selfish greedy. Story 3, let's go. Am I the hole for putting my feet on the seat in the car and suggesting my brother-in-law walk if he had a problem? I was wearing high heels all day, so my feet were killing me by the time we were driving home, so I took my shoes off and sat cross-legged on the seat. My feet weren't touching anybody, but my brother-in-law was sitting next to me and turned it into a big deal because apparently my feet are so gross to him. He told me to put my feet down and put my shoes on. I refused, so he claimed my feet stunk, which was a blatant lie. He did eventually back down on me putting my shoes back on, but he still wanted me to take my feet off the seat. Nobody else had an issue with how I was sitting, and it wasn't my brother-in-law's car, so I got annoyed and told him to walk if he had a problem, since I felt like he was just trying to embarrass me at that point. I think he got angry because I told him to walk, because he started arguing with me even more and was getting louder and louder about it too. It got to the point where my husband and mother-in-law both had to tell him to shut up. Story 4, let's go. Am I the hole for not giving my puppy away to a kid with autism? I am 22 years old and female, have 3 dogs, one of which is the puppy in question. I recently got him. We traveled out of town with him to see my in-laws, and my BF's autistic nephew was there. He immediately took to my puppy and they spent most of the trip hanging out. His mom and Mill said they've never seen him take to an animal like that and that him and my puppy have something special. Well, when we were leaving he had a complete meltdown. Because he knew we were taking the puppy, his mom suggested we could let him stay and get a new puppy and Mill agreed. I said absolutely not because he's mine and I picked him out. If they want him to have a puppy they can go get him one. They said it's not that easy as my puppy is calm and they took to each other, which they did, but still he's mine. My boyfriend told me on the ride home. His mom was saying a lot about me being selfish and cruel and he was wondering if we should have just left him. AITA. TLDR. Mill and Sil wanted me to give my puppy to autistic nephew. I said no way, now they think I'm horrible. Story 5 let's go. Am I the hole for threatening to call the police on my brother for trying to force me to babysit his daughter after I already told him multiple times beforehand that I don't want to babysit her? I 29-year-old and male have a brother 27-year-old who has a 4-year-old daughter. His daughter's mom passed away cause of birth complications and he's been raising her mostly alone ever since. Recently he asked me if I could babysit her for the night so he could go on a date, but I refused cause I'm not experienced with kids and frankly, cause I simply don't want to babysit. My brother kept insisting, saying that he's too tight with money to pay for a babysitter, but I kept refusing to do it. However, one day at around 7 p.m. I suddenly hear a girl knocking at my door and there was my niece while my brother was nowhere to be found. I let her in my room. And then I started calling him multiple times, but he wouldn't pick up any of my calls. After half an hour I ended up giving him a message that if he doesn't come back in 15 minutes, then I'll report him to the police for child abandonment. He came back after 20 minutes. But luckily for him I didn't call the police yet. He was absolutely furious with me and started berating me literally in front of his daughter, but I eventually made him leave my house with my niece. However, afterwards he kept giving me messages about how I failed as both a brother and uncle, that I proved to my niece that I don't love her and see her as a burden, and that I couldn't even allow him this night of fun when he hadn't had sex since his daughter was born. But I messaged him that the last thing is his problem, not mine. And so he needed to figure it out on his own instead of pining on me against my will. However, this only got him to send even more venomous messages. My boyfriend, however, thinks that I'm acting like an asshole to him and that we could have taken care of my niece for this night without creating a scene. AITA for not having much sympathy for my brother's situation and not wanting to babysit his daughter. Story 6 let's go. Am I the hole for telling my friend she can't announce her pregnancy during my birthday party? Leah has always been one of those people who always wants to be in the spotlight. This never bothered me as I am quite an introverted person. Anyway, skipping to my birthday. We have been planning this party for a long time as I have been really depressed the past couple years, and this was my first big gathering with all my friends and family who were also there to support my recovery. I was sending out the invites and was really excited. We were ordering in pizzas and KFC, which are my 2 absolute favorites. Anyways, I tell everyone in the group chat that we will be ordering this and everyone is excited, but then Leah messages and says she can't have that because she is vegan. She then went on to say it was disrespectful that I wasn't being inclusive to everyone. In private messages, she started going on about how it was really rude of me to not have asked before organizing food and that I was discriminating against her being a vegan. So I got really stressed and didn't know what to do. I then said I would order her some food separately from a vegan place and that I would pay. And she went quiet. The day before the party I got a message in the group from her saying that everyone can't wait to catch up with you all this weekend. I have some exciting news of my own I would like to share. Confused about this, I messaged her personally and asked what this was about, as I didn't quite understand as to why she had to announce it on my birthday. It also pissed me off how she was texting the group chat as if she was the one who was organizing the party. We have quite a lot of mutual friends, but at the end of the day it was my group chat and she was treating it like it was some mass gathering for her. Leah said she was planning on telling everyone about her pregnancy. I was shocked. Not only did I feel like she was purposefully trying to ruin my birthday, but I was even more hurt. She didn't even ask me first. After all, it was my birthday party. I told her I did not want her to announce it on my birthday, and that I found it really rude of her to not have asked me first. She then went OFF at me and started complaining about how this was her only opportunity to do it as everyone would be there and the timing was so perfect, and that I had ruined her plan, and that I am a selfish and bad friend for not being happy for her. She then said she can do whatever the f she wants and I can't stop her from announcing it. I was too stressed that I sent her a text uninviting her to my party and then blocked her. All day I got calls and texts from her family saying I was selfish and rude, and that I was narcissistic, and that I was a bad friend. They all basically called me a hole for uninviting her and for being really mean to her too. All these texts made me feel really guilty and like an a-hole. So here I am, Reddit, alter here. Thank you. Leave a comment below.